Across this large space of online retro art, we often have two distinct genres. On one hand, Outrun, and on the other, Vaporwave. But as you can see on r/Vaporwave aesthetics and r/Outrun, it can be hard to tell the difference.
Jesus Christ, Gary, stop posting Outrun in the...
Once, there was peace in the online communities of r/Vaporwave aesthetics and r/Outrun, but as time passed and new recruits entered the fold, the lines between these two genres became more and more unstable. These green recruits couldn't really tell the difference between the Outrun and Vaporwave aesthetics, leading to confusion in the communities. It's a dark time when posts as this gets tagged as Vaporwave. Something like this. It's called Outrun. But fear not, because I've been put on this earth to set the record straight once and for all. To draw the lines between these two genres so that we once more can have peace in the communities. Now, you might have seen this 3-set Venn diagram circulating in the interverse, and sure, we can start here to point out some obvious differences. Let's just throw this thing called cyberpunk straight out of the diagram, as we won't really be looking at it that much. Sorry, cyberpunk fans. Okay, so we'll kick off with the top left here, and as you can see, if Ryan Gosling is involved, then you're most likely looking at Outrun. If he's not driving a car late at night in LA or beating up Asians in a dimly lit Bangkok, then it's probably hunting down Harrison Ford in this neon futuristic utopia. So to make it brief, if you see this handsome boy, then you're probably looking at Outrun. I mean, maybe a couple of shots in Blade Runner 2049 can be called Vaporwave, but that's only a small percentage, so you know, we're not going to be discussing that. On the bottom left here we have some driving going on, specifically at night with these long red lights. Now this is classic Outrun. If someone is driving a Testarossa or a Countach late at night, there should be no doubt in your mind as to what you're looking at. Vaporwave, for the most part, does not have any cars. I mean, with some goodwill, you can maybe say that an old Japanese car is kind of Vaporwave, like the Nissan Skyline R30, an old Toyota Corolla, or this car from Initial D. However, when you see a sports car driving down the grid with some pretty dark colors, you're looking at Outrun 98% of the time. Speaking of dark colors, that is also one of the areas where these two genres are similar but not the same. Neon is a good place to start, as both genres are very neon heavy. Outrun does, however, tend to favor a darker color palette, while Vaporwave mostly gravitates towards lighter colors and often flirts with pastel color palettes, especially when it comes to subgenres like future funk, but we are not going down that rabbit hole today. There's tons of overlap when it comes to color, but you can roughly say that these washed out light colors are associated with Vaporwave, and these darker clear colors put you on the Outrun side of the spectrum. Statues. You see them in your games. You find them in St. James. You see them on your planes. And even in these frames. That is so fucking dumb. But when it comes to Outrun and Vaporwave, statues can only be found in one place. And that is, of course, Vaporwave. Some of the most popular statues in the genre that gets reused all the time is this Hot Boy statue of David by Michelangelo, this one called Venus de Milo, and of course the OG himself, Mr. Macintosh Plus, aka Helios. Now, you can also pretty much grab any statue you want, as long as it looks somewhat Greek. It doesn't really matter if it was made a week ago or in the time the Romans were getting it on, as long as it's aesthetic. While we're here, let's talk fonts. We got a couple examples on this picture, but let's dig a bit deeper. Outrun fonts tend to be heavily stylized fonts inspired by 80s film posters and video games, often portrayed with a metallic gloss effect to really sell that 80s aesthetic chrome look. Here's a couple examples: bang, bada bing, bada bong. Vaporwave fonts, however, are more linked to simple early computer graphics and technology, like this VCR font or this one called Alien Encounters. But one of the most vaporwavy fonts is the almost universally hated classic Times New Roman. While it is hated for its overuse in most of Microsoft software, and every one of us 90s kids having to use it when we're writing our school essays to Miss Hofstad, it still remains a staple of the early PC movement of the 90s, which is one of the biggest influences of Vaporwave. But if you're looking at text that's Asian for some reason, or at least Japanese, then you are most certainly looking at Vaporwave. A favorite thing to do for these aesthetic creators is to find some old Japanese quote and put it into their art. Or even better, finding a #deep English quote and then going into Google Translate and turn it into Japanese. That way, you butcher the original text and the meaning becomes lost in translation.
Is that everything? I mean, it seemed like he said quite a bit more than that.
あなたの言ってることはウイスキーのことだけじゃないんだから。わかる？古い友達に会うように優しくジェントリーにね、そして心から湧き上がってくるテンション、これ忘れちゃダメだよ。
Like an old friend and into the camera.
Okay.
But the experts, they don't stop there. Oh no. They translated it back and forth so many times that any spare meaning that was left behind by the third translate now was transported into the abyss of Google's AI before being jerked into a sentence that roughly translates to I am dog, if you word, can cheese be fact? Awesome! Now turn it Japanese again and put it into your amazing Vaporwave picture. I mean, no one that can actually read that is gonna see it anyways, right? And if the text is some depressive shit trying to act deep, then you can bet your grandma that it's Vaporwave. Preferably some short stories about heartbreak or loneliness, or just short titles like Wake Up and Help. Let's talk a bit about some of the general elements and effects that are used in each genre respectively. If you see the glitch effect or any kind of glitch art, you are almost certainly looking at Vaporwave. You can have the perfect Outrun picture, ready to go, but as soon as you put that glitch effect on it, the post is kinda bordering onto Vaporwave territory. Grids, however, can be used in both genres. While they are more prevalent in Outrun, they are known to cross into Vaporwave territory as well. Adding to that, a rule of thumb would be that when the grid is a dark pink-purple neon against a very dark black surface, you are most likely looking at Outrun, and lighter versions are Vaporwave. But no guarantees here, you have to evaluate it on a case-by-case basis. But if you also have some wireframe mountains, terrains or palm trees in the pictures, then that's some Outrun type shit. This sun that's divided into lines pops into both genres, but tend to be a lighter pink when it comes to Vaporwave themed pictures, and more of a yellow to red gradient in Outrun. If you want a too long didn't read, then sure. Basically, Outrun is inspired by the 80s and Vaporwave is inspired by the 90s. Vaporwave is all about the early stages of PC culture and consumerism, like these memorable Windows screensavers, an open window of Microsoft Paint with a deep quote within it, and this McDonald's cheeseburger with some Fiji water on the side. Outrun is Ryan Gosling. It's these triangle logos with a thin written font on the side and the hard chrome in the center. It's riding your Ferrari Countach at night down a neon lit highway into a future that never really existed. It's these bright lasers that might come from a spaceship, or maybe they're a portal into a better YouTube channel. But the fact is that even though I'm trying to be as objective as possible in this video, I'm probably inserting my own opinions and bias. It's no secret which genre I prefer, you can probably easily tell if you've looked at my Instagram posts. I've tried to provide you with some guidelines that are at least partially correct, so that life can be a little bit easier if you're trying to make art for one of these genres. The fact is that the guidelines or rules for these genres change every week, as more people upload new and inspiring content every day, and that's pretty cool. I'm gonna try and make a new video every week, some tutorials, some more stuff like this, some visual work, but yeah, that's probably not gonna happen. I'm not structured like that, so just subscribe and I'll see you when I see you.